Call this work session to order. I'd like to welcome everybody back and hope everybody's enjoying this fine weather. Looking at the agenda, does anybody have any questions on the agenda? About the consent agenda? I guess we're good, Mr. Oldham. Let's see which one we need to.
Thursday night we'll do 7, right? Because that's the
Correct.
recognitions for that one. So number 8, is that what we're ready for?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is ED 2152, certification of compliance with Tennessee Code annotated, section 49.3-310-4A. The superintendent and chairman of the board of each LEA shall certify to the commissioner on or before October 15th of the current school year that all children enrolled in the LEA have been furnished all required textbooks as determined by the commissioner. The motion is for the director of schools and chairman of the board to certify that all children enrolled in Rutherford County schools have been furnished all required textbooks as determined by the commissioner. Spoke with Mr. Zago and all, as far as we know, everybody has the books. We're not aware of those that do not.
With Stewart Creek opening, how do you determine how many textbooks you actually put together for that campus?
Of course, we'll move a lot of textbooks, and when we've done this in the past, we've got some experience in doing that. You basically look at the numbers, especially after they do the enrollment, because they'll do some pre-enrollment around the 1st of March. You begin to look at what courses and classes. The adoption for this next year is actually reading, so that'll be really elementary. So most of it, there's not really new high school books for this next year. So then we have some growth every year, with our 1,300 growth or so this year, you have to go back and then pick up some extra. But we typically have to order additional textbooks after school starts also. So we place an order all we can during the summer to have them delivered, and then when school starts, within about the first 2 weeks, every school is notified again, are you short of any books, what are they, what titles. We actually, if it's been in adoption for a few years, we'll purchase a used textbook if we can, because you have that 6-year cycle. So if you're 3 or 4 years into it, if we can find a used textbook, we'll purchase a used textbook and do that.
What's the turnaround time once school starts and you're lacking some? What's the turnaround?
Well, about within the first 2 weeks, we typically know. I mean,
Oh, wow.
because once you've got that enrollment, you know fairly quickly where you are. But we anticipate most of it. It's usually not a big problem as long as a book is not. Every once in a while, a publisher will be, well, we're printing some more. We're a little bit behind. See, Tennessee Book Company is, in Nashville, and it's the one that distributes over much of the state of Tennessee. So we're fairly close. Tennessee Book Company, and we sell our used textbooks when we have a book going out of adoption. We bid those out and sell those, and then use some of that funds to purchase books that we're short on. So that's a process we do every year. Number 9. Application for extended learning programs for 2012-2013. The extended contract application and allocation for the 2012-2013 school year has been received. The state will fund extended contracts for 2012-2013 using state funds. Rutherford County's allocation of $142,500 was substantially reduced this year by the Tennessee Department of Education compared to the 2010-11 and 2011-12 allocations. The Extended Contract Committee is seeking approval to submit the application using the program parameters that Rutherford County has been using for the past several years. Those parameters are in priority order: number 1, summer school; number 2, school year remediation intervention programs; number 3, school year enrichment programs. And the motion is recommend approval to approve Rutherford County's Schools Extended Learning Programs application of 2012-13 using the following parameters: 1, summer school; 2, school year remediation intervention programs; and 3, school year enrichment programs. Prior years, that was about $225,000. If you're looking at how much less. They've kind of been phasing that back, so we're from 225 to 142.5. The priorities come a lot because one of the requirements is that any money's not spent in a lower priority is automatically, you're able to go up to a higher priority. So summer school becomes our highest priority. So if there's any funds left over from the school year program, you don't have to go back to the state or return it or something like that. You can shift it automatically to a higher priority. Of course, we do operate a summer school, so that's why you see those. They're really summer school and remediation intervention and enrichment. And we'll not be able to have nearly as much this year with that cut. That's a significant cut.
Any other questions? Number 10.
Number 10 is for information only. It's a Rutherford County government requirement. Rutherford County government is requiring an electronic deposit for all employees effective January 1st, 2013. Those employees who currently have a bank or credit union account can have their net pay deposited into this existing account. Those employees who do not have a bank account will be offered the Skylight Pay Card or have the option of opening a bank account with the bank of their choice. This is going to impact board members and all too. This is everyone, and county commissioners, that sort of thing. When they started, remember a year ago, they put this forward, but said that they would work with some people that would like a little more time, and they were still cutting a few checks and all. But what they're saying, January 1st, 2013, they will not be cutting additional checks for regular employees or something like that. So you'll have to use one of those options. And I think there is a form that you have here at each of your places that talks a little bit more about that. Ms. Barnes is here if you need to know some more information about that.
Let's see, Mr. Goldman, number 11.
And this is the appointed advisory committee, and for information, Chairman Mr. Hodge has appointed the committee per policy 1.602. The following members have been appointed. All the school board members are on the policy committee. Amy Blanton, educational support personnel. Kay Martin's a principal. Sean Lee, a classroom teacher. Robert Willis, a classroom teacher. Amy Wise is a supervisor. Goldie Wade is a citizen at large. Vicki Fan is a citizen at large. Don Odom, director of schools, is on it. Angel McLeod, the director's designee, and Jeff Reed, the board attorney. So that's the appointed list for 2012-13.
Mr. Cloud, when do you think we'll have a first meeting?
It probably will be, I haven't talked to Ms. Michaels about the date yet, but we are, Mr. Odom and Mr. Evans heading a committee about technology in classroom, and so that will probably require some policy changes. That should be finishing up in the next week or so. So once we have that done, then I'll be ready to schedule a date. I just wanted to wait and make sure those get on the agenda if we need them to.
So you think maybe November sometime?
Probably, if there's available dates in November or early December.
Would it be and I imagine you'll have some other stuff on that too,
I
won't
do.
you? So I guess, would it be out of the order if any board members have any questions on any policies or want to look at any, to get with you on it?
Sure.
So, if any board members, have any policies they want Mr. McLeod to look at, or the policy committee to look at, just get with her, and that way she can put it on her agenda, so we get that in November sometime.
The policy that I'm asking Mr. Evans and the committee to work on is dealing with the technology piece. One is the cell phones, to make sure we're consistent across the district doing that, try to look at that one again to visit. And the other one is what many districts across the country are calling bring your own device, which the future of education is moving towards electronic media, for textbooks and everything else. And so very often schools are looking at for students who would like to own their own device or use their own device. We're kind of, they've visited Williamson County and some others already to look at what's being done there. to see that we need to be ahead of this curve if we possibly can, so that's, and if you, and the reason I'm telling you this, if you have some suggestions now, what you're interested in to do that, then communicate with Mr. Evans, and Mr. Nipper's on the one on bring your own device to look at some of the technology requirements, because in 2014-15, under the Park Assessments of Common Core, 6th grade through high school will be taking tests online. And I can just tell you, school systems across the state are not ready for this, from a technological perspective, to have the capacity maybe to do this for all of your TCAP and end-of-course assessments, those sort of things. So that's what we're looking at.
Mr. Odom, am I correct in that since we're purchasing books, that we can go online and access those books? Is that correct?
The publishers will allow us, if you purchase a book now, they will allow you to go online and then access that same book. We have to have, it's password protected, which we give to students and their parents. So I've said this before to parents that are listening to us tonight. If your student comes home and says, "Ooh, I forgot my textbook at school today," then you might ask them, "Well, how about giving me the password and we see if we can't find it online, and you can still do your homework." So that's available from our schools.
I wondered how broadly that was known by our parents and students, in the system.
We communicate that, and we can do that some more too. James, why don't we do some of our news and notes to remind teachers to be able to go ahead and share that?
Sure. We also did a session on online textbooks for parent training as well, 2 years ago. So.
Yes, sir.
The issue with the online textbooks was the price is about between $16 and $17 per year. And so you multiply that times 6, the cost right now for the electronic version is as high as the printed version. And of course, the advantage is your textbooks are always updated. I mean, you don't have one that's 4 years old or 5 years old. They update it every year. But right now, it has not become significantly cost effective. This has been the piece right now.
Anybody else? Before we get it, I'm sorry.
Oh, I had a couple of things, just in general board comments. Are we there?
Let me hit this right here first,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Holliday. And what I'm gonna say may fit into that, but I just looked at the agenda beforehand, because I approved it, but I guess this is the first time I've noticed in a long time, we don't have anything on Mr. Flores facilities. Could you just give us an update on the new high school? I know we're gonna be seeing it. Just let it, yeah, if you don't mind right now, because Thursday night we'll have a little bit more detail on what we got.
Would you like me to do it? I went there Monday.
Would you like to do it?
No, sir.
We are moving on. We have all the site utilities pretty much done at this point. All the water and sewer lines are in. All the wells are drilled for the geothermal. We are starting to couple those up in a manifold to get them inside the building. We're probably in the total of masonry, with the brick we've gotten done, probably 65% on all the masonry. The roofing, we're moving on. We're putting roofing panels on. We're also setting structural steel and decking. We've got about half of that done at this point. And the flat roof is going on the larger areas like the gym and those types of things. We're moving on with those. We have the inside track or the inside curb for the track board on the ball field. We're grading that out. And we're starting to erect bleachers at this point. Also, we're putting some binding down on the road, doing some preliminary paving and things. So we're moving right along. And I think we've done well because we kind of, with the trouble we had with the bid and a little bit of delay in getting the thing funded, I think we're, picking the time up, so it's gonna open on time.
Good, so it'll be all dried in probably Christmas, I guess, won't it?
Yeah, it'll be close. I guess once we get a meeting scheduled, we'll be looking at the entire building program. Is that before the first of the year?
Yes.
Before the first of the year, so that's one reason we're getting close to that. And of course, the retreat, on Saturday, I was going to give a little update on all the construction stuff, so that's why I hesitated to put anything on.
I just make a general comment, that's probably the first time I've noticed not having anything in a long time.
Well, y'all are so used to things like, the sewer at Las Casas now, that instead of taking up time, everyone's aware of those kinds of things, so we put that on the consent agenda now.
Okay.
Mr. Evans posted up the pictures this week. You might show them where it's located on the website, and that would be for our parents that may be listening in the audience too. If you'd like to see the latest pictures, they've been posted up this week, actually. Haven't they? I think it was this week we posted them up.
Right here on the front page.
It's on the front page. If you click that and see the other pictures that continue there, you got different shots that they can look at.
Good.
That's an old shot there.
Yeah, that is one of them.
Yeah, I thought Mrs. Haslam was gonna be there for the rest of the year.
There's the pictures right there.
Okay. Number 12, general discussion by board members. Mr. Holliday?
Since we were last together, again, we did have the second annual Parent Academy. We didn't get a report on that tonight that I know about, but I thought, once again, it was outstanding. I was there at the Laverne High School location, and the things that were explained were just wonderful. I wish that the parents of our students would participate in that more so. And that's not a, goodness sakes, I wish you were there. It only because the information is just so wonderful. One of our SRO officers was there and gave a presentation about school safety and went into some of the things that we don't want to experience, and yet it's so reassuring to know that they're there. And all of the contingency plans and everything that are in place, his presentation was just excellent. It really stood out. But the whole experience was wonderful, and Laverne High School looked top-notch. So that occurred. We also went to TSBA Fall District meeting, and that was a good experience. They gave legislative updates there of issues that, quite frankly, I was unaware of. And I've continued to look into that, and we've got an opportunity coming up to visit with our legislators, and I think that that's really, really important. And so for the general public, I want everybody to know that we are looking at those things as the state legislature prepares to go into session in January, looking to weigh in according to the way that our community's interest is, and make sure that we get the proper feedback on that. I'm serving on the board that the county commission has put together for redistricting road board and school board zones and realigning those. And it's an exploratory committee that has been asked to make some type of recommendation, and it is a challenging recommendation. I'll share with you that there is a leading proposal that the chairman of that committee, I believe, is going to present to some of the county commission, either through steering committee or through the entire county commission, for information only, to get a little bit more feedback and get some reflection as to what exactly would be an appropriate recommendation from that committee. We'll meet again in November, but please, school board members, it can have dramatic impact. And I wanted to offer the opportunity for us to discuss that and for you guys to share feedback with me so that I appropriately respond in those meetings to the interest not only for myself, but of the school board in general.
Can I say one thing about the Parent Academy? Mr. Zago and I met with YMCA today, and they actually offered us today that, and we decided to have another Parent Academy, that they would do some babysitting and childcare free of charge as part of it,
Wow.
and participate with us on that. So I thought that was a nice move from some of our community partners there.
All right.
I'd like to give some kudos on our website. I've used it quite often here over the last several days, especially with the new detailed map of the Stewart's Creek zoning. But, you know, it's so user-friendly, you can find so much, and I'm sure the public has utilized it quite a bit. But I find myself going at it more and more, looking at different things that someone asked me out in the community. Hey, what about this? And I go, well, no, let's go, we'll look. And again, it's just so user-friendly. There's so much there. And I guess Mr. Evans pretty much,
Chris Marshall and I do it together.
Okay.
I do a lot of the content.
well, I'd just like to say you're doing an outstanding job on this. This is so user-friendly and so informative. And I'm proud of our website because it packs a big punch of information.
Mr. Holiday?
Yes.
Thursday, won't you give us an update, like what's taking place up to this point? Mr. Tackler will be back Thursday, and we can do that during general discussion,
Okay.
and you can let us know where the committee's at, like I said, right now, and then any board members can give you feedback at that time, if that's okay with you.
That'd be excellent, because like I say, there is a leading map, and it is public knowledge, what that map looks like. And one of the things that is in discussion is how would that map be implemented? Is it in a 2014, 2016, 2018? Where does that go in, and how does it affect election cycles? It's a very tangled web when you get into those kind of issues, but it's important for us to see that. So we'll look at it Thursday. Thank you, sir. If I could, one last thing, with rezoning for Stewart's Creek, we've had 2 meetings, there's still 2 to come. We certainly don't want to jump the gun, but is it appropriate at this point for us to discuss any of the things that we see a tendency or a leaning in the public feedback that we're getting? Or do we want to hang on to those things and wait until we have completed all of those meetings?
Just, I think Mr. Oldham, I think he's checked out a few, is working on some of these things that board members have requested, as far as certain areas and stuff like that. I think we got one, we're working on one now. I think everybody got a copy on Shores Road. But I would probably be more inclined to wait until we get through all the public hearings and let Joyce compile everything and get that to us before the first meeting that we have on all of it. And if you see any areas you want to look at further, let Mr. Oldham, staff or whatever know before we actually have the first meeting. I think we get into it now, I think we'll get bogged down. That's just, just my personal opinion. I'll do whatever the board wants.
I agree. I think we should wait till we get through all the community meetings.
If that's okay.
Genuinely, my interest was that a board meeting not take place and the issue not be intentionally discussed, and the general public know that we are working toward
Yeah.
that.
I think we're all getting emails and stuff like that, so you got some that you want them to look at, just pass it on to the staff.
Please do, and we'll, Mr. Morgan's taking your questions and compiling them and that sort of thing, so we'll have that. As you see an area or something that you want to know about, how many students, and so we're working on all of those.
Okay. Anybody else got anything right off? I've got one thing in regards to our retreat on Saturday. I know the afternoon session's gonna be devoted to Mr. Odom, and the board, more in line with goals. And, I think Mr. Odom's got some things lined up, basically go over with the board at first on his goals. And I think, we're sort of behind the 8 ball on this thing with new board, new chairmanship and all that. I was just gonna make a recommendation that instead of looking through May, as far as board goals and stuff like that, to possibly look through maybe next December, if that makes any sense. I don't, some board members may have goals. I mean, we'll all have some kind of input, things we wanna look at, but I don't think it's fair to Mr. Odom, we expect 6 months, because the time he starts implementing something, it'd probably be December or after the first year, so basically have 5 months or whatever to try to achieve what we want. So I'm just thinking, look to maybe a year from now, when you're looking at, different areas you got interest in. So, but, then Ms. Michaels, she's give us a memo here everybody needs to fill out before we leave this evening. And did you want to say something about the legislative session?
I'm in the process of compiling your questions. Very often, all of you might ask the same question. So what I'm trying to do, instead of giving it to each legislature 3 times, we'll put it together in one question and do that. Jeff Sandvik gave us a thing or two dealing with finances, but if you still have anything else, let us know. Ms. Michael plans to try to get it to you and to the legislators around this weekend if we can, so that we can do that. So, anything else you'd like to add? And that doesn't mean something would not come up on the 25th when we come, but we'd like to give the legislators a little time to think about the response, or do some research that they might want to do too to answer your questions. So, we'll share all of that with you by this weekend, I'm sure.
Mr. Floyd?
And I would like to remind the public that we're retreating here. We're not going anywhere. We're meeting here in the central office. So there's no plush hotel rooms or dining out. I guess we're going to be in your office. So no, it is a retreat, but it's us getting together with central office and other personnel.
One thing you failed to mention, I think it is Saturday, and it is this Saturday.
Yes, sir.
And we do have not only board members taking time on Saturday, but our staff several of our staff is going to be presenting to us. So it's not like a day of vacation. So we just make sure the public knows that.
Yes, sir.
Anything else? Nothing else, we'll stand adjourned till Thursday night.